Hi y'all, today we're going to work on the cottage drawer and home sweet home inserts. These are so adorable. This base is 7 inches tall, 5 inches wide, and the inserts fit into it. There are 2 sets of inserts with each of the insert kits. So this is 2 kits that I'm completing here. I'm going ahead and gluing all of those inner pieces together and clamping them off, and I did this kind of as prep the night before I wanted to do this project, so they did dry overnight. And then I'm putting the pieces that I want to actually stain and paint on my sticky board. I'm going to mix up chiffon black glaze or black chiffon glaze with my favorite Van Dyke brown, just because I wanted a darker, deeper color here. And I am brushing that on all the pieces on the parts that show. So I'm leaving the bottom of those cabinet pieces apart, not stained, because that's where those other pieces that I have clamped and drying are going to go on top of. So just the parts that are showing, I am putting a layer on there. And then I really wanted it a little bit darker, so I went in with just black chiffon on top of that, and then kind of just mixed it in with my brush with a little bit more Van Dyke brown, and just kept brushing until it smoothed out and got the depth and the darkness that I wanted. And then I let that dry overnight. So here's the next day, and I'm going to use my Sweet Pickin's Galvanized milk paint, put that in equal parts water with the powder, and I use a little hand mixer. I'm not sure that was the best thing, though. It really made it frothy, so maybe next time I should just pulse it instead of just letting it go full out. I ended up wanting to thicken up that paint, so I added some more of the powder and then brushed it on. And if you force dry milk paint, it will crackle and crumble up, and I wanted that aged look. And then I went in with my little plastic scraper and kind of scraped off some of the crackly up part, and I wanted more. So I kind of wiped back that first layer on those other pieces and put a thicker layer of the milk paint down, and it crackled better. So I feel like maybe next time I should make my paint thicker just from the get-go. Maybe let it sit for a minute and set up a little bit first. But it ended up being beautiful. So laying out all the pieces that are going to go together, I'm going in with my Debbie's DIY dark wax and just accenting the places where the paint was crackling and crumbling up before I go in with my dead flat top coat. Gonna put that on evenly, just brush it across and let that get really good and dry before I start assembling. So while that's drying, I'm gonna work on the insert kit. Again, this comes separate. It is the Home Sweet Home kit, and it's gonna make 2 separate inserts that fit into the cottage drawer. So I stained a couple of pieces with the Van Dyke brown. I'm going to go in with Red Barn chalk style paint from Paint Couture. Other than the milk paint, all these products have been Paint Couture, other than the milk paint and the Debbie's DIY dark wax. Then I used Mystic Gray mineral acrylic paint on the house, and I'm going in with Misty Fjord on that larger wreath. On the smaller wreaths, I'm starting with Autumn Sage, because I want my wreaths to have different color tones to them. So I am making them different because they're going to actually overlap a little bit. So on the Autumn Sage smaller wreaths, I went in on the edges with Vintage Moss. On the larger wreath, I went in on them with that Autumn Sage, because I wanted a 2-tone look on each of them, but I wanted them to not be exactly the same. Brought back out my milk paint, and I'm going in on my chicken and the window frame there, and I'm going to use my scraper and scrape some of that off just to give it that cute distressed look. Then going in with my Debbie's DIY dark wax again. And I ended up with 3 layers on my hearts, because you know reds, they always have to be extra. And getting everything with my Debbie's DIY dark wax, getting those hearts dry so that I can distress them as well. And then I'm going to pull everything off and start assembly. I love this part. I love using art glitter glue because it dries clear and doesn't make my fingers goopy. It gives you a little bit of wiggle room before it sets up. Before I did that, I did go in with my dead flat top coat to protect everything. And while that was drying, I assembled some of my pieces. So the window frame actually has two layers, a background and a foreground. And I glued those together and then clamped them off and set them aside. While I put the front piece on those layered pieces I already had and assembled the very front. So cute. All of these pieces layered together. It is just coming together perfectly. I love, 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 love this cute little kit. Again, clamping off. All of these clamps come from the Dollar Tree around here. I have two different sizes. It took me a while to find them both, but I did. Just getting all those pieces together, figuring out how I want the wreath to hang on that window frame. And I had a special idea for my hearts, but it fell through, so I need to practice some more. But I did brush them with a silvery white mica powder just to give it a little shimmer there. And then clamping off some areas that needed to kind of compress together a little bit more on the drawer. And then finally, after everything's set up, getting that going. And I ran out of glue, but I have my refill. This is why I love art glitter glue as well, because I can buy a larger refill for my little bottles instead of buying little bottles and disposing of them all the time, because I use a lot of this glue. And then I went in to try and decide where I want my wreath to hang on the drawer. And of course I flipped it over and it fell off, but it's okay. I fixed it. Gonna let that set up. And then, oh my goodness, how cute is that? Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. There are tons of inserts on Christina's website, so be sure to check it out. The Rust Covered Cottage by Christina. Here it is, all set up with the two inserts. Love, love, love it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.